Hello, friends, and welcome to 10-Minute English Stories. If you are learning English, this is the perfect channel for you. We share short, simple, and inspiring stories in easy English. Stories that help you learn new words, improve listening, and teach important life lessons. Today's story will touch your heart. It will remind you that hard work is never wasted. So, find a comfortable spot. Take a breath, hit that subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss any new videos. Let's begin. He had $11 in his pocket. No job, no car, no one to call. He was 23 years old and he was sleeping on a park bench. But 5 years later, he stood in front of 500 people and they were all clapping for him. This is his story. His name was Marcus. Marcus grew up in a small town in Ohio. His family was poor, very poor. His father left when Marcus was 6 years old. His mother worked 2 jobs. She cleaned offices at night. She sold food at a market in the morning. Marcus watched his mother every single day. She never complained. She never gave up. But life was still very hard. Marcus was a quiet boy. He didn't talk much. But he had a dream. He wanted to become a businessman. He wanted to build something big. Everyone laughed at him. His neighbor said, "Marcus, boys like you don't become businessmen." His teacher once said, "Be realistic, learn a simple skill." But Marcus kept his dream close to his heart. He worked small jobs after school. He carried bags at the grocery store. He mowed lawns on weekends. Every dollar he made, he saved. He was only 16, but he was already working like a man. When Marcus was 19, his mother got very sick. The doctor said she needed surgery. It was expensive, very expensive. Marcus felt the world crash around him. He had some savings, but not enough. He went to the bank. They said no. He asked his relatives. They looked away. He stood outside the hospital one night. It was cold. It was raining. He looked up at the dark sky and said quietly, "What do I do now?" He had no answer. He had to use all his savings for his mother's treatment. Everything he worked for, gone. His mother survived, but Marcus had nothing left. He lost his small apartment. He couldn't pay the rent. For 3 weeks, he slept in the park. He had $11, an old backpack, and 1 change of clothes. People walked past him every day. Some ignored him. Some looked at him with sad eyes. One man even said, "Get a real life, kid." Marcus felt something burn inside him. Not anger, something stronger, determination. One cold morning, Marcus walked into a small diner. He had enough money for 1 coffee. He sat at the corner table. He was tired. He was hungry. The owner of the diner, an older woman named Ruth, noticed him. She brought him a plate of eggs and toast. Marcus looked up. "I didn't order this." Ruth smiled. "I know. Eat. You look like you need it." Marcus felt his eyes get warm. He ate slowly. It was the best meal he had in weeks. When he finished, he asked Ruth, "Can I wash dishes here? I'll work for food." Ruth looked at him for a long moment. Then she said, "Be here tomorrow at 6 a.m. Marcus showed up at 5:45. He washed dishes, he cleaned tables, he swept floors. He never complained, he never came late. After 2 weeks, Ruth gave him a small salary. After 1 month, she let him help in the kitchen. After 3 months, she asked him to manage the weekend orders. Marcus worked and worked and worked. He slept in a shelter at night. He read business books during his breaks. He studied how small businesses worked. He watched Ruth, how she talked to customers, how she kept the diner clean, how she managed money. He asked questions. "Ruth, why do you order supplies on Thursdays?" Ruth laughed. "Because prices are lower midweek." Smart question, Marcus. He wrote everything down in a small notebook. That notebook became his school. After 1 year, Marcus had saved enough to rent a small room. It was tiny. It had one window, one bed, one light bulb. But it was his. He looked around that small room and smiled. "This is the beginning," he said to himself. 2 years passed. Marcus was now 23. He had a new idea. He wanted to start a small food delivery service. He would connect local restaurants with customers who couldn't leave their homes. Old people, sick people, busy parents. He wrote a business plan. It took him 3 months. He went to a small business office. A man named Daniel looked at his plan. Daniel read it carefully. He was quiet for a long time. Marcus sat still. His hands were shaking a little. Daniel looked up and said, "Marcus, this is good. This is really good." Marcus let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. Daniel helped him get a small loan, $2,000. It wasn't much, but Marcus used every single dollar wisely. He bought a used bicycle, he made flyers, he partnered with 3 local restaurants. He delivered food himself, every single order, rain or shine, hot days, cold nights. He rode that bicycle like his life depended on it, because in a way, it did. There were hard days. One evening, he had only 2 orders. He sat by the road after his last delivery. He was exhausted. He thought about quitting. Maybe people were right, he thought. Maybe this is too big for me. He took out his notebook. Inside the front cover, he had written one sentence. His mother had said it to him when he was a little boy. "Marcus, nothing good comes easy, but everything good comes to those who keep going." He read it 3 times. He closed the notebook, he got back on his bicycle, and he kept going. 1 year later, Marcus had 12 delivery riders working for him. He had partnered with 27 restaurants. He had over 400 regular customers. His small idea was now a real business. He hired his first office assistant. He moved into a bigger space. He called his mother on the phone. "Mom," he said, "I did it." There was silence on the other side. Then he heard her crying softly. "I always knew you would," she said. Marcus sat quietly for a moment. He thought about the park bench, the $11, the cold rain, the bicycle rides at midnight, and he smiled. Not because life had become easy, but because he had proven something important. Hard work is never wasted, not one single hour, not one single drop of sweat. 5 years after that night in the park, Marcus stood in front of 500 people at a local business event. He was invited to speak. He stood at the microphone, he looked at the crowd, he took a breath, and he said, "5 years ago, I had $11 and a bench to sleep on. Today, I have a business, a team, and a lesson I'll never forget. The only difference between who I was and who I am is that I never stopped working." The room was silent for 1 second. Then everyone started clapping. Marcus's story is not just his story. It is the story of everyone who ever felt like giving up. Everyone who ever sat in the dark and asked, "What do I do now?" Here is what Marcus's life teaches us. Hard work doesn't always show results right away. Some days will feel empty. Some nights will feel too long. But every hour you give, every effort you make, every time you choose to keep going instead of quitting, it all adds up, slowly, quietly, powerfully. You don't need the perfect start. You don't need money or connections or luck. You just need to wake up tomorrow and try again. That is the power of hard work, and it is available to every single one of us. Thank you for listening today. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, keep going. Your story isn't over yet. See you in the next story.